What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Friday. Glad to have everybody along. Heading into the weekend on a hot note, talking about the Titans running backs and how they can help evolve the Titans offense this season in 2023, when there's a lot of looking around trying to figure out which Titans players are going to be impact players in the passing game and which Titans players are going to make explosive plays for this offense this upcoming season. We talked a lot yesterday, really, Zach, all yesterday, about Will Levis having an underwhelming practice at OTAs. And so now we'll discuss the running backs and what we saw from them on Wednesday at St. Thomas Sports Park. Then we do have the mini camp schedule that came out for next week. So a lot of great practice opportunities to go out and see this team next week in mandatory mini camp, and a couple conversations we'll have and questions we have that will be answered next week about, is Kevin Byard going to show up? You know, it's post June 1st. What happens with all those opportunities for cuts as well? But Zach, welcome in. We're talking running backs today, and I talked to Taijae Spears. We'll talk all about the offense and running backs and building and running through Derrick Henry this year. And then some good news to wrap up this week, as we always do on a Friday. Eric says happy Friday. Zach, happy Friday. Welcome in.
Yeah, big show because, the Titans are a running football team. This is kind of the core and center focal point of what they do. Will this be the last year that this is the core center focal point of what they do? We'll find out. We'll find out what Tim Kelly's up to. We'll also find out, as you mentioned, what your good news is on this Friday. It is June, so summer. I feel like you got pool season. It's the weekend. We're kind of getting into that mode. So happy Friday to all. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out link by link on our YouTube, on Twitter at A to Z Sports. So follow us there. Keep us locked at ATOZ Sports. When we go to practice, we've got great coverage when it comes to videos, when it comes to press conferences, when it comes to reaction. So follow us at ATOZ Sports, and also subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. A ton of people are going to YouTube, and when you do, make sure you do subscribe. If you've already subscribed, make sure you like this video. It helps circulate on YouTube. It's a mystery algorithm that nobody truly knows the numbers and the calculations, but we do know when you like this show, more Titans fans have the ability to search and get involved every morning. Like, we've got some ride or dies, which we respect on our YouTube community. So subscribe and or like the video. Speaking of ride and dies, we've got Facebook that we've been doing this for years and years and years. The real OGs, the day oneers, as we say. You guys know what to do. Bottom left corner of your screen, share, not a public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing. I just shared to my Facebook page. You should share to yours. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends newsfeed. So a lot more people will be piling in over the next 5 to 10 minutes as we get this morning rolling. Let's get this party started on Friday.
Yep, let's do it. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He's Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media, as we are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter timeline, and more content covering the Titans on Instagram and TikTok. So follow us there. Got to thank our sponsors, because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai, to make them a part of your new car buying process by seeing them in Lebanon or WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Get better with Farm Bureau health plans. That means better coverage rates and service. Learn about a health plan for you. FBHP.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, keeping you safe online with your 2-week free trial to get robocallers out of your life. Aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in the mid-state: Columbia, Murfreesboro, Franklin. Online, KrebsKubota.com for all of your equipment needs. So, Zach, we talked Will Levis all day yesterday in the morning show. I'm guessing you saw the Will Levis tweet that we sent out there. So I did want to get your quick, like 60-second reaction on the tweet right here that we crafted, that I tweeted it. I took responsibility for this blowing up. Will Levis, underwhelming day at Titans OTAs, inaccurate throws, bad decision throwing into double coverage, and dropped the snap under center. What is your 60 to 90-second reaction of what you saw from the Will Levis firestorm on social media from this week?
Well, look, the eyes don't lie. If that's what you believed, I mean, that's what you saw. That's what Sam saw. It's what A to Z Sports saw. And we tweet out what we see. That's the reporting nature of it. People disagree with it. That's okay. If that's what you saw, I support it. I was not there, so I cannot sit there and say, well, you're lying or you're not telling the truth. I believe that you've covered practice long enough that what you see, you tweet, and that should be the case. And honestly, the people need to know that. This is not one of those, and I say this pretty on a regular basis, A to Z Sports is not a fan site. We're not there covering the team because we love the team. We're covering the team to be real with the team, to make sure we hold the team accountable for their actions, whether it's good or bad. We criticize them when they are bad. We praise them when they make really good decisions. Like drafting Derrick Henry is a very good decision. I thought that you did not. Things shaked out. There's been things that I have thought that have been wrong and vice versa. We are an open book and we are a forum for opinion. That was your opinion. I take it and I believe that it happened.
Yeah. So
I don't also, well, I'll say this. Here's my closing statement.
Yeah.
I also don't think that tweet is like, well, screw Will Levis. He's going to be terrible. So
yeah. Right. Yeah, underwhelming day on May 31st. It's June 2nd now. So Jody says, hopefully Taijae Spears has good hands. Well, that's kind of what we're talking about today, because another conversation that Sam and I had on the sidelines of practice on Wednesday at St. Thomas Sports Park was about the running backs use, because I see all these comments that every day there's somebody's going to say, well, who is insert quarterback here going to throw to? Well, Zach, based on some conversations and based on what we saw at OTAs this week and some of last week, they're going to be thrown to the running backs. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see how this evolves, of watching the running backs the Titans have on the roster, obviously led by Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill working as much with Derrick Henry, but Henry gets limited reps in these OTAs when it comes to team drills, 7-on-7, 11-on-11, stuff like that. And so you're going to start to see a lot of the younger running backs, a lot of the guys that are not built like Derrick Henry, get more and more opportunity as the Titans start to put in some of this work on running backs getting extra reps on receiving. So this is just the individual drills that we're able to film at OTA practices of running backs. And I spent my time on Wednesday with the running backs and wide receivers and working on several different pass game concepts. And really, Zach, that carried over quite a bit to the team drills in practice. Now, I can't go into a lot of detail. I can't get specific with you guys, but it does feel like the Titans are going to lean heavily on their running backs in the passing game this season. And I think Taijae Spears can be kind of a big deal about that. So, Zach, here is I caught up with Taijae Spears and asked him a couple questions about what it's like and what he's having to do physically and mentally in the receiving game, because they're not just running or throwing the ball to these guys out of the backfield like the video you just saw from practice. They're getting a little extra creative. So there's an extra level of mental capacity and mental effort that these running backs are having to go through, because it's not just coming out of the backfield. They're getting creative with the running back. So here's me with third-round rookie Taijae Spears about catching the football.
Running routes there in college, but what have you been able to catch on with your receiving game?
Just being more versatile. Wherever they use me at, man, I'm willing to do it. Whether it's on special teams, different pieces in the offense, wherever they use me, I'm willing to do it.
Mentally, is it how does it come naturally to you of learning the scheme and learning the different concepts?
I guess I just be locked in. I do a lot of studying on my own. I do a lot of studying, here. I meet with the coach a lot, so it's a lot to go into. It's definitely not easy.
Now, I asked him, what were your work hours and how often you're studying, and he wouldn't give me any details on that. But again, like they're using these guys all over the damn field, Zach, like different spots, different formations, lining up in different areas, sideline to sideline. So, what's your initial takeaway from the beginning of this conversation?
Well,
here?
it's a different offense, right? So
Yeah.
should be different. It shouldn't be the same. This is the opportunity that, honestly, if it was the same, I'd be worried because then we're going to have a whole reincarnation of Todd Downing, and nobody wants that. Tim Kelly got the job for a reason. Now, for what reason was in the eye of the beholder of Mike Vrabel, and he convinced Mike Vrabel that he could take this offense to new heights or higher heights because they were on the ground floor, honestly. Last year, they were really, really bad. This should not be an excuse of the players. This new offense is going to, Tim Kelly has had time to diagnose, right? When a brand new offensive coordinator that comes in there and has no idea who the players are, and he's going to implement his system, he's going to get to know these guys, and all of a sudden they're going to try to hit the ground running. That's a different story than what Tim Kelly has kind of put himself into, and the Titans have put Tim Kelly into, which is he knows the personnel. He knows, I think, their strengths and weaknesses after a year. And he was the passing game coordinator. There was a responsibility for the lack of production last year, but he didn't have the full reins. He was not in the driver's seat. He may have been in the passenger seat. He may have been in the back seat. We don't really truly know what Tim Kelly was in last year's offense, but now he's got the keys to the offense. He's got the keys to the cars. And now he's got a couple of new weapons that you've got to, I think here's the hard part about the running back situation. And this is difficult because I don't know if there is a true answer. You have a Hall of Fame, downhill, fast, unbelievable running back that has got the broadest shoulders on the team, that has carried this team for some time. And you have got to figure out a way to continue that trend, but also utilize new pieces within that are not superstars. A.J. Brown's not walking through that door. Traylon Burks is in his sophomore season. Chig is in his sophomore season. Kyle Phillips is in his sophomore season. Taijae Spears is a rookie. Hassan Haskins is in his sophomore year. So, like, there are so many new faces that don't have the experience. The experience is Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, but what is the scheme after that?
Yeah, and like you mentioned, all these guys and running backs as the video played earlier. Derrick Henry is a lot different than every other running back the Titans have on the roster physically and from a skill set standpoint. So I'll give you an update on Derrick Henry and kind of how I saw him work with the running backs in this, use the running backs in the passing game type of situation with the Titans offense. But first, let me tell you guys about the Aura app. You can take advantage of the Aura app with a 2-week free trial just by signing up with our link, aura.com/ATOZ. This is how you stay safe online. This is how you don't allow robocallers, telemarketers, and spammers to take over your life. And they hit you from every angle, right? They call you with spam calls on your phone, junk mail in your email, junk mail in your actual mailbox that you just have to toss right into the trash or recycling bin every damn day. Aura helps get rid of those data brokers from your life with automatically opting submit out requests on your behalf for any of these data brokers that have your information and continue to keep you safe online. I said it right when we started working with Aura a couple months ago at this point that I had 30 data brokers had my info, Zach, and 29 of them were removed from my database. And so now I get a lot less of that stuff, that crud, just building up in my life and because of what Aura's done for me. And it worked fast too. So a 2-week free trial when you use our link, aura.com/ATOZ.
It does work fast. I have Aura, and it happened immediately. So we're endorsing the real stuff. Both Austin and I use Aura. You should use it too. So heed that advice. Heed also the advice of BetMGM. Download the app today and use the bonus code ATOZ Sports for new users. And those new users can get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. My bet did not miss last night with the Denver Nuggets. I knew that was going to happen. You could see it. The Heat were tired. The Nuggets were rested. Game 2 is a different story. You can get in on the action by downloading the BetMGM app.
All right. So, Zach, talk a lot about the Titans using the running backs in the passing game. How does Derrick Henry fit in all that? So an update on this. So as I mentioned, the Titans running backs were being used in a creative fashion when lining up all over the field in different type of sets, and not just coming out of the backfield to catch passes, but doing it from anywhere on the field. Derrick Henry, as I mentioned earlier, is limited in his reps and what he does 11 on 11, 7 on 7 at this point in the offseason. They're not just going to use Derrick Henry for no reason. But yes, Derrick Henry was involved in moving the running back from just being in the backfield with the quarterback. So Derrick Henry was involved in that. Derrick Henry looks like he has been continuing to work on his catching ability and his hands, and what had been a struggle for him through most of his career, not having the surest hands. So it does feel like Derrick Henry will have a role in the running backs catching the ball out of the backfield. Now, do you trust it? How do you feel about it? But that's kind of the weird, rock and a hard place the Titans are at right now, is knowing that Derrick Henry is still probably the best offensive player, maybe the best player overall on this team. But is he going to continue to allow you to evolve? Because that's the title of today's show, how the Titans running backs can help evolutionize the offense this season. So, Zach, how do you feel about the Derrick Henry part of this one?
Well, can he catch?
Can he catch in different ways? Can he make multiple catches? Because we know Derrick Henry can stop and look at a quarterback and catch it.
Well, when he's got 3 offensive linemen helping him.
Yeah. Derrick Henry can catch when it's thrown in his, catch zone, his strike zone, right? But if you throw it on the edge of the plate, the edge of his strike zone, that's when the margin of error really starts to creep in with Derrick Henry's hands. So what type of catches can he make? He's not catching over the shoulder. He's not going to be able to go pinky to pinky or create the diamond all the time with catching, but can he get better at it?
Or is Derrick Henry going to be a distraction for the defense in these situations? I think that's probably where my mindset goes when it comes to Derrick Henry out of the backfield. I think we've seen enough Derrick Henry to fully understand his capabilities and skill set. I think we just mentioned that he can catch the football when he has time, when he's turned around, when he's facing the quarterback. I don't think they're going to put him in those positions. Old dog, new tricks. That's probably not it. But if they're interchanging these running backs, I think that is there going to be a time where Taijae Spears and Derrick Henry are on the field at the same time? I wouldn't be surprised, right? Especially if you're going to evolve this running back situation. There's a distraction. Does that leave Derrick Henry more open in certain play sets to catch the football? Because we do know that when Derrick Henry catches the football in space and gets his feet going, he's hard to stop.
It's good, right?
And it's a
good
first down.
Yes.
But if he gets tackled while he's catching or he drops the football, that's a lost play. And you don't have – this offense is not good enough to have a lot of lost plays.
And here's the rock in a hard place in a different way too, because here's Nate saying 398 receiving yards last year. King Henry is improving as a pass catcher. And Nick says Henry had 33 catches on 41 targets for 398. So yes, he can catch. And that's, I think, a little bit misleading. Is it not? Isn't it crazy that 398 yards receiving for Derrick Henry a year ago, in my mind, feels misleading because it's about the how it happened. It's not about the yards that he's gotten, but it's the limitation of how he can go get the receiving yards that I think is kind of a little bit of fool's gold when you're looking at Derrick Henry having nearly 400 receiving yards.
Well,
he had more receiving yards by one than NWI.
Yeah, look at these catches. It is fool's gold. Now, a lot of times it was 3rd and 13 and or even 2nd and 13, and they just turn around and check the ball down to Derrick Henry for a gain of 6 yards. Not necessarily 3rd down because he wasn't in on a lot of 3rd downs, but I think it's fool's gold because of this. And I just looked up the game log because that is telling. Out of those 398 yards receiving, he had individual catches in these games 23 yards, 22 yards, 24 yards. There's 3 games, 3 catches. There's 75 yards. He had a 69-yard catch in a singular game against Cincinnati. There now you're at 150, a 42-yard catch, a 37-yard catch, and a 19-yard catch in those individual games. We're talking about probably 200, over 200 of those yards came between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 catches all season. 8 receptions all season accounted for over half of the 398 yards receiving. That's fool's gold, my friend.
Right, but they do count, like, right? Like,
no. I'm not discrediting that they don't count.
Yes.
But I'm saying is that's not a versatile, dual threat running back.
Yes.
Those are more of a one-trick pony out of the backfield.
Yeah. Anthony says half of his receptions are 2 yards or less, with the other half being 20 yards. And that's how you get a 12-yard average,
that's quick math, but those are facts. I just looked it up. Those are facts.
And Pastor Raymond says all of his catches weren't screens. Yeah, but they were either screens or they were checkdowns, where Derrick Henry had his shoulders squared to the quarterback and was in a half squat, right here, like that, and then catch it, tuck it, turn, and go. And sometimes he went for a long time, sometimes he did not. And so I think that's the interesting thing. So, and I'm not talking about that. This is not the pass game and using the running backs to evolution of the offense by Derrick Henry catching check down passes or screens. That's been a part of the Titans offense. I'm talking about running routes. I'm talking about lining up in other spots and being a part of route concepts and misdirection and all types of different schematic things. And so that's where I think it's an interesting question about Derrick Henry that we'll talk about here now, Zach. Let's ask this question to the audience. What percentage of the Titans offense should be built around Derrick Henry this season?
This is one of the best questions that we have for the time and where we are in the season or the off season per se. This is a very new coordinator. Traylon Burke, this is a good question.
It is. It is a good question. What percentage of the Titans offense should be built around Derrick Henry this season? So we want your opinion, not a prediction, but what percentage of the Titans offense should be built around Derrick Henry this season? Zach, I know this percentage. You saved 20% on health coverage because you went to Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Every single solitary month, that is the case. And there's 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee that you can take advantage and possibly save 20%. Had no idea what I was getting into with Farm Bureau Health Plans. We had signed a deal with them, and I was like, look, I'm open to changing my coverage because this was last year. I was like, I don't know. It may be more expensive. And they were like, trust us. We'll get a quote. I don't get any special treatment. I'm a common folk citizen, just like everybody else when it comes to Farm Bureau Health Plans. And that's kind of what they pride themselves on is it doesn't matter who you are, whether you are an individual, whether you have a wife and kids, whether it's a family plan, they have health, dental, and vision. And you really need to look at your plan. They looked at my plan, and honestly, they gave me a new plan and said, look, here's a new option. It has better coverage for a lesser rate, and the service was better. And I was like, well, sign me up. And I signed up, and I've been talking about them ever since. You need to at least get a quote. It takes no amount of time. It's like 20-minute health assessment. They give you a quote a day later, and you realize, wow, I should have switched a long time ago. That's what I did. Health, dental, and vision. Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee. That's fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Hey, Zach, you said you won last night on BetMGM. I did as well. I used my Wednesday bonus bet for no reason because I just logged on, and I put that $25 bonus bet on Jamal Murray over 25.5. He made me sweat a little bit because he got 24 by the end of the third, and he got that last bucket with about 5 minutes left. But we got that in the bag right there. So you can also do that with BetMGM tomorrow, because Saturday and Wednesday, you've got 2 more opportunities, guys. 2 more opportunities to get a random bonus bet on the house just by logging on to your BetMGM app on Saturday and Wednesday. Again, it's tomorrow and next Wednesday before that promotion runs out. So make sure you take advantage of that with the BetMGM app. So just log on tomorrow and see what the heck happens, and then use that for game 2 on Sunday. All right, Zach. So the question we're asking, I think it's an interesting question. I think there's a lot of levels to it. What percentage of the Titans offense should be built around Derrick Henry this season? I will have you go to the chat to see what percentages the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch audience is coming up with.
Well, we'll start off with a ridiculous number from Mr. Jones, which is 100. It can't be 100. They're not going to run the ball every single solitary time. Guy says 10%, 33% from Cam, 70 from Grim Jim. Bama Brad says 50. Michigan Titan says 60. Nate's Burner says 100%. 55 from Andre. Also, Jake goes 55. 30 to 35 from Jay. Stephen King, 40%. Need them to worry, but not rely on him. Jimbo says 35%. Dotson says 40%. Matt goes 33, 65 from Rooney. Big Ten Jeff goes 95. Have no wide receivers. Laughing emoji. Deborah says 25%. There's another 100. Derek is with Mr. Jones. Jonathan says 30%, 35 from Titans Kyle. Borkington 55. Ramon 45. Richie 50%. Henry 50%. Burks, still unrealistic expectations there, but I do understand what you're saying. Pastor Raymond 60%. Nick 50%. Willie 40. Also Tall Texans. Tons of percentage coming in here. And Andre with a super chat comes in. There's Danny. But Andre says he's more a proven wide receiver than actual wide receivers, in my opinion. And a competent OC can run an offense without solely relying on Henry. Arthur Smith had Henry as a threat. Arthur Smith's offense was much different in personnel in the 2,000-yard, unbelievable offensive production season that ended in a Ravens loss than what Tim Kelly and this particular offense is. So that I'll say this. I have a 2-part question for you, Austin.
Oh, okay.
What was the percentage of Derrick Henry usage last year, in your opinion? And what do you think it should be this year?
Okay, so I'll answer the first one first. So this question is about built around Derrick Henry, not what percentage of the offense should Derrick Henry get the ball. How about this? I just did this math while you were reading through the comments. Derrick Henry touched the football on 40.5% of the Titans snaps last season. 40.5%. He had 349 carries out of their 487 carries, and he had the 33 receptions on 456 pass attempts. Now, I'm not even including the other 8 times they threw it to him and it was incomplete. So 40.5% of the time, the ball went to Derrick Henry's hands.
So let's take that a step further. This is a good article that could be written on A to Z Sports.
Wait. I didn't include the 2 pass attempts that he had. So that might get it up closer to 41%.
Well, I'm going to get it over 50 because how many times was Derrick Henry in the game used in a play action fake?
Bingo. Right. And that was my next level of it, because if he touched the ball 41% of the time, roughly, then how many other times was he used as a decoy in a play action pass? So I think, and this is just a guess, right? I feel like, and the Titans were down a lot more last season where you don't use play action as frequently when you're down in the 3rd and 4th quarter and you're behind a couple scores and you got to catch up. So I think if he touches the ball 41% of the time, I think he is involved in that play, probably close to 70%. So I could say last year, the Tennessee Titans built about 70% of their offense around Derrick Henry. I mean, I think 65 feels a little low.
70 feels a little high to me. 60 to 65 feels, I think, just right.
Okay, so we'll sell at 65. So 65% of their offense was built around Henry this past season. I think that needs to drop by 8%. I think 57% of the offense needs to be built around Derrick Henry this year. because of the unique situation financially, contractually, and also, with who else you got personnel wise on the roster, is that it needs to be spread around a little bit more, but you still have to get everything you possibly can out of Derrick Henry this season. So I'm going to say 57% instead of, let's say, 65% from a year ago. So 57% of the offense should be based around Derrick Henry this season. 57.
So I had my answer before we went through that little exercise, and mine is a lot lower than everybody else's, I feel like. Well, there were some people in the chat where were the 30, but
before you answer, were you
built around? I was doing the same thing.
But when I say Derrick Henry touched the football 41% of the Titans offensive snaps last year, does that make you go like, yeah, that makes sense, knowing that he didn't play in a complete game? Like, there was one game against the Cowboys, Derrick Henry did not dress. So, like, even then, 41% of the snaps led with Derrick Henry.
That's all they had. They didn't have anybody else. Traylon Burks was hurt. Kyle Phillips was hurt. NWI is NWI. Cody Hollister was making plays.
No, Cody Hollister was not making plays.
He did. He made some plays. Plays is 2. It's just plural. It's not 45 plays, but he made plays.
Cody Hollister had 3 catches on 5 targets for 54 yards. Hey, 18 yards a pop. They should have
more than one. That's plays. That's plural, baby.
Zach, he played in 11 games and he had 5 targets.
What I'm saying is that my point is that Henry was all they had. Here is it's kind of a 2-part answer. My answer is 49.9%.
Okay.
Because I believe that this is the start, that if the Titans are going to be successful, and I think this is a whole nother show, but their ceiling, I'm actually not going to say that. I'm going to save that. Mm-hmm. But their ceiling is not a Super Bowl. I'll tell you that, right? Their ceiling, I don't believe, is a Super Bowl. But to get into the tournament and make some waves, other guys are going to have to step up. And the only way other guys are going to have to step up is if other guys have opportunity. That means they need 50.1% of the plays that include Kyle Phillips, Traylon Burks, Chig, NWI, even.
But you're also
the other guys.
You're
Chris
including
Moore.
In your 49.5%, you're including the play action passes as well.
Yes,
right?
I am, because Taijae Spears is a whole nother conversation within this. And I wanted to get through this question because I do have what Taijae Spears feels like.
Okay.
And it makes perfect sense on why the Titans drafted Taijae Spears. Okay. After watching Taijae Spears, I bet on Tulane, I think 3 times last year. And I won all those bets, I think. I know I won at least 2 of them.
They were a good bet. They were a good bet last season.
They were. I always say, I implore everybody to go back to YouTube and watch the Cotton Bowl, USC and Taijae Spears, a miraculous performance of how he single-handedly kept them in that game to eventually go on and win.
Yeah.
But I have a philosophy on Taijae Spears being a very impactful player and why I believe he was drafted.
Okay, that's great. And I'll also add USC's defense was hot doo-doo last season too. So, but Tulane's not supposed to be able to beat USC. And
it was a great game.
No, entertaining as all get out. All right, so you have your philosophy on Taijae Spears. I'll tell you about where guys should go for any of your equipment needs. That is our friends at Krebs Kubota. Hung out with Matt and Jamie a few weeks ago at their Murfreesboro location. They've been serving Middle Tennesseans for over 18 years. Not just Murfreesboro, but Franklin and Columbia, the OG, right there for Krebs Kubota. They've got it all when it comes to your equipment, because you have to have a good relationship with your equipment provider because of the type of work you're doing with the Kubota equipment. The Kubota brand, they have the best equipment in the entire industry, but they also have fantastic warranties that you can use to your benefit. And they also have incredible service. So you can go to Krebs Kubota where you have the human beings giving you the great service, but also the resources of the Kubota brand on the service and parts that they have as well. So do what the right thing is to do for any of your equipment needs, big or small projects around your property, around your home. If it's just a mower, a trimmer, or anything big, and they've got the big stuff there too, go see Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 locations serving Middle Tennessee in Murfreesboro, Franklin, and Columbia. Online, KrebsKubota.com.
A to Z Sports powered by BetMGM. Download the app today. I won on the Nuggets, but I'm an honest man. I lost on a plus money bet on the Cincinnati Reds, and Chris Sale hurt his elbow midway through the game. It was 2-2 tied in like the 8th or the 9th inning. And then I checked my phone again, and the Sox had won 8-2. I mean, a barrage of hits there at the end. So I did lose there, but that's what it is. BetMGM can afford you the win and also the opportunity. Download the app today. We love BetMGM. You should love BetMGM. For new users, use that bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, Zach. So you said you have a philosophy about Taijae Spears as a whole. 3rd-round rookie out of Tulane. It was a head-scratching draft pick, even with all the medical situation to go along with it. So dive into what you have here.
Doesn't Taijae Spears just exemplify a 49ers running back? When he was drafted, the style of runner that he is, the size, the physique, the running back by committee type guy. And I'm just going to go through just a list of guys. Taijae Spears is sans, and you can just go through whether it's Elijah Mitchell or Raheem Mostert or Jerick McKinnon or Tevin Coleman. Like, those are the committee over the last several years that I feel like Rand Carthon has had some sort of say.
Jeff Wilson, right?
I mean, this is a 49ers running back. This is one of running back by committee type guy. Now, Taijae Spears may come out of the woodwork and be the guy after Derrick Henry goes on and does whatever he does after the contract, or wherever he goes. But I just feel like this Taijae Spears is a 49ers running back. This has Rand Carthon written all over it, and twice on Sunday.
I mean, the big scouting story that Rand Carthon was promoting his abilities on was the Elijah Mitchell draft pick, right? It was the conversation with D'Amico Ryans, like, hey, D'Amico, I know we said we'd get you a linebacker, and this guy's really good, but check out this running back in the 5th round. And yeah, D'Amico's like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, go get Elijah Mitchell. And they did, and it worked out greatly. And now both D'Amico Ryans and Rand Carthon have moved on and been promoted across the NFL as the Texans head coach and Titans GM.
And Richie brings up, and this is funny, the Titans draft a running back every year, even after firing John Robinson for a wide receiver issue. And they didn't draft a wide receiver until the 7th round. We all know how that shook out, though, at least in this particular draft. And let's face it, the Titans have drafted some damn good running backs. They've also missed Bishop Sankey. Close your ears, earmuffs. Bishop Sankey, right? That was a bad running back. Appalachian State.
Darrington Evans.
Bad pick. So like they've whiffed on these.
David Cobb, Minnesota.
Bad pick.
That's 2 days in a row that Bishop Sankey and David Cobb's name have been mentioned on the show, by the way.
Well, those are old nightmares. But I don't think Taijae Spears are those guys. I think Taijae Spears is closer to, like I said, the 49ers, Mostert, McKinnon, Coleman, those type of guys that will not be complete and utter busts. I don't know what the ceiling will be. Like, I don't think the ceiling is the Derrick Henrys of the world, those guys. I'm just saying that this is kind of, I think, the new age of what the Titans are trying to be, which if I had a crystal ball, I would say with Rand Carthon, knowing a little bit about him, now knowing his first draft, Will Levis, Spears, another running back, Chig as a very big, impactful piece, Treylon Burks, and another first-round wide receiver. And that first-round wide receiver may be a veteran that was drafted in the first round years ago, or maybe a first-round wide receiver that they draft. But that's giving the – don't you feel like the Titans for the last couple of years, they've just been one-sided, and that one-sided has just been running the football?
Yeah, it's one-dimensional.
I think and the opposite of one-dimensional are the San Francisco 49ers over the last 4 years.
But it's also, and I think, everybody, if they could be Kyle Shanahan or come from that tree, then I think everybody would do it. But there is a talent that goes into what Shanahan has and his brilliance as a play caller, a scheme builder and everything that they execute at a high level. Like you bring up, Taijae Spears, you feel like, that could be a 49ers running back. I mean, the 49ers, Elijah Mitchell is going into his third year out of the state of Louisiana, and he had 900 plus yards as a rookie when other injuries happened with San Fran, but a great rookie season as a 5th-round pick. I don't think Taijae Spears is going to have 900 yards of offense this season because that would probably mean Derrick Henry would get hurt, which nobody wants to see. But I do think I do agree with you overall on the idea of that, feels like a running back that the Niners would use. And I'm just fascinated to see Taijae Spears more in these practices because minicamp, 3 days of practice next week, albeit 2 of them. And how does Taijae Spears continue to develop and continue to be a piece of what this offense is? Because I think he's got a lot of creative ability to be that chess piece that Tim Kelly can use in several different ways. The way they kind of played around with Dontrell Hilliard a year ago until he got a massive concussion, because Dontrell Hilliard led this team in receiving touchdowns for a long time last year. Actually, he might still have been tied for it.
He still might be leading them.
Hold on. I think I just played myself. Yeah, Dontrell Hilliard still in 12 games played, 21 catches, 4 touchdowns that he caught. He still led.
That's atrocious. Does that not just piss you off? Like just hearing you say that this man is a running back and he led the team in touchdown receptions.
Yep, that's it. That's how it worked last year.
Chat, give me some angry emojis here. I feel my anger here. That just hearing that should drive you up the wall. That is embarrassing. That's embarrassing as a football team. That's embarrassing as an organization. And there's a reason why they lost 7 straight games and missed the plails. Give me some pissed off emojis.
And there's a reason why Todd Downing was fired too, right?
Look,
I think you could say there's 2 guys responsible for that stat: John Robinson and Todd Downing.
Where's Mike Vrabel in this?
He's in between the 2. He's the one who survived. He's the one who pointed the finger at the other 2, and he stood still. Like he ran fast. Like you always hear if I'm in the woods and a bear chases you, you just don't be the slowest friend. Mike Vrabel wasn't the slowest friend. That was John Robinson and Todd Downing. Mike Vrabel got away with it, but he was there. He was involved. He just ran faster. So
thank you, chat.
Yes, a lot of good angry emojis.
It was Friday. We're getting all of our anger out.
Yeah, good news to end it, so that's fine.
I started this earlier from Brett. What they have got to knock the trend of Titans fans, because it's the case. I mean, the chat is not wrong. Is Brett says run, pass, punt. I think that there is a feel from the Titans fan base that with Derrick Henry, it's going to be run, pass, punt. And a lot of times it was run, pass, punt. And Tim Kelly's responsibility within this offense is 2 things. Kick the trend of run, pass, punt. And the second trend is not have your backup running back lead the effing team in touchdown receptions.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your 2 jobs.
So this brings me to a comment that we didn't play a couple weeks ago, but I think it's very fascinating when it comes to you guys.
Real quick, Andre brings up the Javon Ringer out of
Michigan State. I mean, you can name all of these running backs the Titans have whiffed on. I mean, that could be a trivia that we want to do on Tuesday. If we get too behind in our percentages and need to get some wins, then just Titans running backs from colleges.
What round was Javon Ringer drafted?
Fifth. He was like 147 or something.
He was not bad in college.
Yeah, Michigan State gained the ball 3,000 times. Ron Ringer draft. Let's just see how close I was to that. About where he was drafted. 5th round in 2009.
Darius Raynaud. Andre's he's pulling out the history books.
Darius Raynaud doesn't necessarily
I know.
Come on, can I find the pick? 173. I said 147. I was close. I was close. But anyway, 5th round. But yeah, so to the conversation about the Titans offense moving forward, I think this comment that we're about to play, I think really tells you what the Titans should be doing with the opportunity of Derrick Henry being slightly less involved in the foundation and moving forward. But Zach, first tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai, please.
Yeah, Wilson County Hyundai, you can move forward one way. Well, that's by buying a brand new car and move a lot faster than what you currently have. And it's a quick trip down I-40 exit 236. The fleet of vehicles that they have, they've got your perfect make and model. You've just got to go find it. The Palisade, full-size SUV, the Sonata, 4-door sedan, the Elantra, the Tucson, the Santa Fe. The Tucson and the Santa Fe, smaller SUVs, but just as fuel efficient as all the other cars I mentioned. Plus, they've got the Ioniq. I was behind an Ioniq today, yesterday, and it's got some zip. I mean, it does. It's battery powered, and they've got those. They can order one customized for you. That's WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
With BetMGM, you can win big. The first bet offer is the right way to do it with code ATOZ Sports. That's bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with a BetMGM app, and then go big with that first bet. Maybe it's on game 2 on Sunday. Go big with it, because if you miss the first bet, you get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets by using our bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up. So that's the way to join the BetMGM train and win with us throughout the rest of this summer with Game 2 on Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. So code ATOZ Sports. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only new customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification and other requirements. Rewards issued knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem game with sport, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Talking a lot about running backs today. My observations from practice this week at OTAs is that these running backs will be and should be, so there's 2 parts of it, a lot more heavily involved in the passing game moving forward, and not just the way we've seen it from Derrick Henry the last couple of years of screens and turnaround checkdowns that could maybe turn into big plays. But here's Greg Cosell from a couple weeks ago talking about the offense for the Titans moving forward and what the signaling of Will Levis and Taijae Spears as draft picks meant to Greg Cosell of NFL Films.
So that draft pick may tell you direction of where they're going,
right,
but also the Levis pick too, because people can say what they want about Will Levis, but that is a strong arm, push the ball down the field guy.
Without question.
And so that tells you what they're thinking moving forward too.
Without question.
Yeah.
So, I think in this league, and I have this conversation with a lot of people, in this league, yes, do you have to run the ball? Of course you do. I mean, you can't be one-dimensional and really be great every week. But running the ball is becoming more in terms of situations and what it does to a defense, as opposed to old school line up and just give it to a back.
Yeah.
And those are different things. And I hope people get that. Maybe we can talk about that more on Saturday night if people want to come out and talk more about sort of the philosophy of football. It's really philosophy and how you see the game evolving and developing. It's very hard in this league now to just build an offense around a running back. That's really hard to do, which doesn't mean you don't want a back that's good or a back that, may have 250 carries, but it's how you do that. And, I think that the one thing about the Titans is, we've talked about the receivers, and you can say they're not very good, and that's all well and good, but you don't want to be in a situation where you can only create explosive plays by working off your run game. You want to feel that you can create explosive plays multiple ways.
And that last part, how can you create explosive plays without Derrick Henry getting a ball fake. I mean, because you can like go back in your memory bank, even with A.J. Brown, right? The bang play action crossing route to A.J. that he took 70 yards for a touchdown.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, but again, like how many times can they create an explosive play without Derrick Henry being tied to the result of it?
Well, I think that depends on Chig and Burks, right? So like,
And Taijae Spears. That's my whole thought about this, because
what is an explosive play from Spears? Is like, are you 19 yards?
Pass game X plays, as they say in the industry, is 20-yard plays. Running plays is a 10-yard gain to count as an explosive play. So I think we're talking about pass game explosive plays. How many types of ways can you create a 20+ yard play in the air without faking to Derrick Henry or throwing him a screen or a check down?
Can Taijae Spears, or will Taijae Spears get the opportunity to have those X plays on the ground on top of that? How much would that do to the offense if Taijae Spears could get 10 yards running the football? But I just don't know if he'll get that opportunity because he's not going to be in there, right? Taijae Spears, or at least traditionally, and this is Tim Kelly, traditionally the backup running back, his only opportunity is on third down.
Yeah, third and passing, because I think.
Yeah, because you're right. Third and 2, they're probably going to run.
I don't know. There was a lot of 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s where Derrick Henry was on the sideline holding his helmet, which it just infuriated everybody. But I think what you're kind of saying is, if you're going to run the football, like, you're going to do it with Derrick Henry rather than like not.
And that's the problem that it creates. It's why, look at the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott, he had and then Tony Pollard came in there and changed the way that offense thought, right? How can Taijae Spears come in and change the way that this offense thinks? That, I think, is key. Because it thinks the same way that it has always thought since Derrick Henry has had success in this league. Taijae Spears and Tim Kelly's job is to change the way that this Titans offense in 2023 thinks. And Lee is right. Third down was for Swain.
I mean, I'm just glad. Here's another show that we can save. It's a very mean-spirited show, but Titans players, you're glad, are no longer with the team because we've talked about Jeff Swaim and Cody Hollister today, and it's just like, I am glad.
Look, Cody, don't be doing that to Cody.
It's not about.
Cody was not the problem.
It's
Swaim
not.
was.
But it's also not about the players. It's about the inability to find somebody better than those guys. It's not about the person.
I don't have the job.
I don't know Cody Hollister. I saw he can sing really well based off a Titans locker room video they produced. I don't know Jeff Swaim either. I don't have any negativity about the human beings, but it's the Titans' fault that they weren't able to replace those guys sooner than they actually did, which is now.
Wiley, the new tight end, maybe he can come in there and catch the balls that Swaim didn't.
I have takes banked about Josh Wiley that I'm excited to unleash.
Positive?
I just need more data. I need mini camp.
Yeah, well, who was the guy you were high on Kyle Phillips, and we just didn't get to see.
A lot of people everybody was high on Kyle Phillips because you should have been. Because the Giants game proved that you should be high on Kyle Phillips. It's just he got hurt.
Yeah,
I think you're bringing up because you and Sam had a conversation about this when I was off the show, and it took you a second to remember the Josh Malone, right? Is that who you're thinking of?
The Josh Malone, I didn't think that you thought that he had an impact. You were just bringing him up right around this time of year. No, I guess it was training camp.
No, it was this time of year. It was this time of year where Josh Malone looked solid. And again, I was like, Josh Malone looks like he
orange glasses on that day.
No, he was just he looked like he was a possibility for something. And then the pads came on, and he disappeared. And that's like
he disappeared before the pads came on. He was never there. I think that's
what I'm
that
saying.
was
Like,
the point.
Zach,
He was never there. It was an illusion that you, I think, got David Copperfield tricked.
no, come on, no.
I mean, no, there's no coming on.
I think
This is what it is. We have the facts now. You did a full show on this that
Yes.
we all had to endure, and then training camp rolled around, and we Houdini'd. We're looking, Josh. Hey, Josh.
Oh, and then look, this is devolving really quickly. Robert says Austin was also trying to sell us on CJ Board too. No, I just said CJ Board had a legitimate impact on the Broncos game. Like, do the Titans beat the Denver Broncos without CJ Board? I don't know. You can go back and look at it. That guy made plays in a lot of different ways that helped. Like, I get that's my. And then Jay says, "Where's Marcus Johnson?" Marcus Johnson was also a guy that didn't just disappear when the pads came on. He just got hurt and didn't play.
The chat's bringing up some receipts.
I love it. I love the fact
the
that
chat.
like it's like kind of like alarming that everybody remembers like our opinions so well.
Well, the bad takes, right? I mean, they don't really remember being like, "Oh my gosh, Zach was so right," or Austin was just spot on. I mean, sometimes you feel a game plan going into a game because we've watched too much football and we cover the team where you know what they're going to do because of the tendencies and all that stuff. So sometimes we, on the game day shows, we are made right. But the bad takes are always easier to remember. It's Skip Bayless and that dumbass saying that, Tom Brady is Johnny Manziel is going to be the next, incumbent of Jesus. Like, shut up. Like that, those are bad takes. Now, when you reach like that, I think let's just talk about this real quick.
Okay.
Worst takes that we've had. This is a whole segment. I will say,
should we just save this? Because this is really good.
But
like,
we've saved too many topics today.
Okay.
I think we've
All right,
used let's save this.
All right.
So, I mean, I thought my Christian McCaffrey take was wrong, but I don't think it was the worst take.
I mean,
it was wrong, but it wasn't the worst take because he had years where he was in question due to injury. Your Derrick Henry take was the worst take.
Well, yeah, that's my worst. Now, but you also remember like what you said about McCaffrey. It wasn't that you thought he had to change positions. Like you were saying that
I thought he could thrive as a wide receiver.
No, not like I think a lot of people thought McCaffrey.
No, I'm saying he would be better as a slot wide receiver than a running back.
No, it was strong. It was way stronger.
I know. I brought it up because it's one of my worst takes. Yes. I'm not sitting here defending it. I'm just saying that Christian McCaffrey did not become he's not a Hall of Fame running back.
I mean, he's one of like 3 people who have ever had 1,000 receiving and 1,000 rushing yards in a season.
But that's what I'm saying is my point was I expected the receiving. What I did not expect was the running. And how many years has he rushed over 1,000 yards?
I want to say it's 2.
Right? That's not that great as a running back.
Yeah, but you thought he could not. You thought he had to change positions altogether.
That was the bad take.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
And so my worst take by far is that Derrick Henry will never be a. Wait, how did I phrase it?
He'd never be a Pro Bowler.
No, because the Pro Bowler was you and the one.
He was going to be a bust. I think it was just like he was bustola. Why does NFL.com suck so bad at stats? God,
yeah, it is. Yeah, ESPN maybe has a copyright on the formula.
On the formula. Yeah,
I have a take about Netflix has the best interface, and no other streaming service is going to have anything as good as Netflix. Like that's just a whole nother side topic that we.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Netflix does it better than everybody else, and they did it first, and so nobody else can do what they do.
There's a lawsuit, so. I mean, let's just go through this, Austin. Now that we're here, Christian McCaffrey is a running back. Not that impressive. 400 yards. He had 2 back-to-back 1,000 yards rushing, including his third year, which he went over 1,200 yards, 1,387. After that, 225, 442, 393, 746.
Yeah, the injuries,
Austin,
right?
these numbers are bad.
But look at the games. You say 225 in 3 games.
7, 6, and 11 in those
Right.
years.
So he got hurt in Carolina Blue. And so he was a lot better. He did pretty damn good in 11 games with San Fran last year, ran for 740 yards and scored 6 touchdowns.
I know. Well, I guess what I'm arguing is I think I've had worse takes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you also said he should not be a running back and that he should be a receiver, yet he's got 4,700 career rushing yards and 2 legitimately really damn good rushing seasons. And you thought he couldn't play the position. Now, your worst take by far, I think, is Taylor Lewan will never be a Pro Bowler. And then he made 3 consecutive Pro Bowls right after you said it.
Yeah, but what did you do after that?
Yeah, it didn't matter. He got you 3 years in a row. Like you're not proven right because he didn't make a 4th one. You're proven wrong because you made the 1st one. And then when he made like 3 Pro Bowls in a row, like Lewan was on a trajectory of actual greatness, but it didn't happen. He was really the
PEDs set him off. I mean, the ACLs were killer, right? But the PEDs, I think, prevented. I'll be honest, this is what I thought when the PEDs came out, and we knew that story. And so I think that's fair. That may be my worst take. I think it killed his career. Like what Taylor Lewan could have been prior to that, because prior to the PEDs, his ACLs were intact. He was a Pro Bowl,
he was a consecutive 3-time Pro Bowler. But he was good once he got back from that suspension. Then it was the next year when the first ACL happened, and then it was game over since then. So really it was the ACL. The first ACL is what did it, which is why he's filing a lawsuit against the surgeon.
Wait, the ACL was after the PEDs.
So he had the PEDs in 2019. He played really well once he got back. It took a couple games to knock off the rust. Then he played really well in the end of 2019 when Tannehill came in, went to the AFC title game, was playing great, was playing really good football. Titans were 5-0, ACL tear in 2020. Then Jonnu had to change his role. Then, all that stuff. Then the ACL in 21 was kind of iffy. Then he tore it again last year. Now he's suing.
So there you go. Your worst is Derrick. I mean, we talk about the Titans, so it's not surprising that it was the Titans-esque, but yours is Derrick Henry, mine's Taylor Lewan.
Yeah, bingo. All right, you ready for some good news now that we just revisited all of our worst takes?
Yeah, I'm glad we got that out of the way. We don't have to talk about it again.
All right. All right, great news. Good news here on this Friday. Everybody share your good news in the chat. And speaking of injuries, the Bone and Joint Institute, they can make sure you get right with your injuries that pop up in life. I've used the Bone and Joint Institute, Zach, I've used the doctors that were there since I was like 19 years old because I tore my ACL when I was 19, went to Dr. Scott Arthur, and he is one of the fine folks at the Bone and Joint Institute. Hurt my foot last summer, talked to Dr. Jeff Watson about that, got that set up, and they've got all the experts in Franklin that can help you with any type of injury. So the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. The region is Middle Tennessee, a little bit more west, Southern Kentucky, Northern Alabama, because the Bone and Joint Institute is the best because of what they have there right there, the resources and the experts at their fingertips in Franklin, boneandjointtn.org.
One could say that our takes fueled Derrick Henry and Taylor Lewan to be the players that they became.
I think you can legitimately say that your take had a impact on Lewan. My Derrick Henry could give. Derrick Henry does not care whatsoever. Like Lewan cares about stuff like that. Derrick Henry does not.
I made Lewan.
You were a part. I think he validated that when he.
Well, yeah, he gave me the Pro Bowl letter. I wanted to keep it. I wish I would have kept that letter, that Pro Bowl letter. You can bet on anything you want. I'm sure you can bet on eventually if Lewan's going to come back, or is he all bussing? Is he all Barstool? He's having a damn good second leg of his career at Barstool. Is they're trending up in the podcast digital media space. You can bet on whatever you need to bet on. Download the app today. That's ATOZ Sports. That's the bonus code. Get and download the app and get going right there. Let's get to good news.
All right, ain't that good news to wrap up this week? Hey, the first good news coming. Sam, he says on the good news on the road for the wedding. He's traveling to a friend's wedding this weekend. Listening to the show. Bad news, traffic stinks, especially when you're going to Atlanta, Sam. That traffic is real rough. And then Sam also doubles down that it's also free donut day. So Sam, I guess, went to Dunkin'. It's free donut day at like every donut place. So there's some. Yeah. So if you want to do that, get some donuts. Jeff says, good news. Ohio State gets week 1 on CBS at 3:30, while Michigan is only streaming on Peacock there from NBC. Yeah, the streaming stuff's going to be interesting. More good news. Richie says, good news. Son graduates elementary school next week. No more panicking. No more packing cold lunches. That's funny. Section 240. Hey, good news. A to Z Sports made the top 15 Titans Twitter account list. So, hey, this is Bonafide Bro, who's been a part of Twitter for a long time in the Titans Twitter community. I watched that video, and he did list A to Z Sports as a top 15 Titans Twitter account to follow. So appreciate the love.
What number were we?
Let me think. He did say in no particular order.
Oh, okay.
But
So if we're not ranked, then...
I think he listed us at he listed us 7th or 8th in his like listing of the no particular order top 15.
I mean, I may be a little biased, but we're number 1.
I mean,
let's just be all right. Let's call a spade a spade. We've got live streaming shows multiple times during the day that one can interact on Twitter, respond to, go to YouTube, go wherever you need. We've got live coverage and analysts, right? Number 1 in your heart. I love this. Live analyst. We analyze what Will Levis, you did on the field.
Yeah.
We've got live video of press conferences. We've got live video of interviews. We've got articles. We are number 1. We've been number 1 in the digital space for a long time, but that is my sell to the people or to this ranking. If you have not ranked them yet, we are number 1.
All right, so now we're giving Bonafide Bro at his section 240 a new homework of now take your 15 and do the rankings.
And look, Devin brings up Jim Wyatt. Jim Wyatt, I think, is definitely up there, but he also has inside information.
Yeah, Jim Wyatt is basically Barry Bonds.
He is Barry Bonds.
So if Jim Wyatt,
the greatest player of all time, but
he's got the advantage.
He's got the advantage.
And then I'll take us. You know, if Jim Wyatt's Barry Bonds, then I'll be King Griffey Jr. every damn day of the week.
Right? Clean. We're clean.
And I TD, our guy Teron Davenport.
Teron is spectacular. But live shows, ESPN also holding him back a little bit.
That's true.
Right? We're free. We can do whatever the F we want. If we want to do it, we can do it. If we want to, put an emoji up there, we can say, talk to Jay, right? So I haven't seen this ranking, but that is my sales pitch for us to be number 1.
We're in the top 15. There's no ranking, but now Bonafide Bro, you have until next Friday to go through and rank your 15. So
and it's about availability, right? The best ability is availability. We're not sitting here saying that you may disagree with all my takes. You may hate my effing guts. That's fine. But our personalities of what we bring to the table as a company are, I think, top notch. All right, enough of that.
All right, Zach, do you have good news?
My good news is I will be out next week because I got a family reunion. It's Bingham Ranch time. And this is cool. This is the 50th anniversary since my late grandfather purchased the ranch that my family owns in Texas. We've got fishing, we've got bingo, we've got a parade, we've got a crawfish boil. We are going to celebrate at our 50th family reunion that we do every year at Bingham Ranch. And that is my very, very good news. I'm excited about that.
All right. So good news. So yes, you're out the tail end of next week for that. My good news is
full week would be a little, I don't know if I can spend a full week with the family reunion. 3 or 4 days. That's the good amount.
That might be pushing it. Yeah, you're right. All right. So, my good news is that I just ended the month of May. I was like, I'm going to do something every day in May. And it was harder than I thought, but I achieved it. I did 100 push-ups every day in the month of May. And that was my goal. And like 100 push-ups is not like a lot, but to do it and I started on May 2nd because the goal was to get 3,000 done in the month. And I got it. And I got behind on some days, so I had to play some catch up. But to just remember to every day do 100 push-ups, I think was a challenge. And then I did see that St. Jude does this thing where they do 100 push-ups a day in June. So I was like, oh, well, damn it. Now I guess we're doing it again. So I've now started. It's day 2 of 100 push-ups a day in June. So I'm going to see
if I can do all 100. Do you do 50 early, 50 late, 25, 25, 25, 25?
So it's changed because like I have not worked out as much as regularly as I normally do the last few months. And so when I started this, I was a little atrophy had set in. So I was just trying to get the 100 in however I could. But once I started to gain strength back and I could mix them up and do them in the most productive way. It would be a waste if I just tried to knock out 100 push-ups at one time. That's not getting the most out of those 100 push-ups. So now instead of doing like 25 4 times throughout the day, I'm doing like 20, but I'm doing the first 15 of them really, really, really slow. And the last 5 at like a crawling pace. And I'm doing that 5 times throughout the day. So I'm getting a lot more out of those 20 because I'm splitting them up and doing them slow.
Sounds like prison. This is what you do when you're in prison. You do 100 push-ups a day.
But
I'm with you. Look, it's the easiest, most available opportunity to improve your health.
Yes.
Push-ups and jumping jacks, right? Because you don't know anything.
Yes. And so Devin says, make sure you do alternating hand positions. That's what June's for, because I was trying to, and I do good push-ups. Like I have really good form, but
the prison fitness plan. This is good.
Yeah. I mean, but again, like it was funny to watch and to feel the difference in the push-ups from like the first day I started to like day 5 to day 15. There was a moment in there where I was like, oh crap. I only did 41 days. So I had to catch up. And so, yeah, so I'm doing it again. So by the end of June, I'm going to have 6,000 push-ups done in 60 days by the end of June. So that's what we're doing there.
There you go.
That's my goodness. So halfway to it. All right, guys. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back on a Monday. The Titans do have mini camp 3 days next week. So a lot of coverage to happen once that starts on Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe to the show. You give us that like, hit that thumbs up. We'd appreciate it as always because we've got great nonstop coverage as we've been ranked top 15. We just made our case for number 1. So you got to make sure you subscribe because if we want to rank YouTube accounts for Titans, then there is no other option than number 1 for us. But all right, guys. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.